Have you heard of Fortified Homes? Well, it's probably one of the best high-performance home building programs from a residential and commercial construction a builder can do. And it's probably not what you think it is. In today's episode, I've got Isaac and Kendall of Clare Homes. They're Acadiana builders on a mission to deliver the most resilient, healthy, and most efficient homes to our community. In this episode, find out how they do things differently and how they're changing the game in the world of construction right here in Acadiana. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for being here. Isaac, so for our audience, the guys that don't know who y'all are, tell us a little bit about where you guys originated from and how y'all ended up together, building these really cool houses.
Cool. Thanks for having us on, Jim, first of all.
Absolutely.
So Kendall and I, we're both Lafayette natives, STM graduates. We graduated in 2007. We both went to
Go Cougars.
Yeah, go Cougars. One another.
So y'all were in the same class?
Yeah, that's right. 2007.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did y'all go to Fatima Cathedral or?
I'm a Blue Jay. I'm a San Cecilia Blue Jay, so I got some of the haters out.
Yeah. I'm a Tiger. I went to Cathedral.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. And so y'all got to STM and y'all became good friends after that?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
First day of school. First day of freshman summer.
We were in the work program for the summer, so we were putting some extra time.
Yeah, scraping gull off the bottom of the chairs.
Yeah.
Mr. Keefe.
So before freshman year rolled around, Isaac and I were there with some other students, and I don't know, we ended up sitting right next to each other, start talking, working together, and it kind of went from there. We kind of helped each other along the way, motivated each other to join the football team, things like that. So
yeah. What positions y'all play?
I started at quarterback, switched to receiver, had a couple, good quarterbacks ahead of me. Lance, Mikey Matuk. So,
And something.
Yeah, I'm not trying to pretend I was the best.
Kendall's got an art, man.
Baseball was more my thing at STM. So.
Okay.
Yep.
I was the runner.
I was a running back. Yep.
Nice. All right. So y'all met at STM, and then how'd y'all end up here building houses?
So we both went to LSU. We graduated in construction management, got our undergrads over there, and then we both initially were working for commercial contractors. Kendall was working for Bouquet LeBlanc. I started out with like a high-rise residential contractor. We did HUD rehabs. So my first job was in New Orleans, but shortly after that, I transitioned to residential. I went work for D.R. Horton in Baton Rouge, and then moved back home to work for DSLD. And Kendall,
which DSLD actually originally sold to D.R. Horton.
That's right.
And then they started DSLD, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you started working for D.R. Horton as well, right?
I did, yeah. I was working for them down in Slidell. So, like Isaac said, I started in commercial, doing some major renovation on LSU's campus, which was a really cool project. And then got an opportunity to move back home in Lafayette, working with Level Homes, is another great company in Baton Rouge. So I kind of bounced around a little bit after that. Worked with them, worked with DSLD, D.R. Horton, did a little bit of work on my own, and ended up in New Orleans, chasing who's now my wife. And then after that, I was able to convince her to come back to Lafayette. So that was kind of the starting point for Isaac and I coming, was when I knew I was moving back
guys
to Lafayette.
Coming back together. You were going to move back.
Well, I was already here. Yeah, I was already here. And then Kendall.
So you were commuting to Baton Rouge?
No, I was working for DSLD here.
Oh, here, right.
I worked for D.R. Horton in Baton Rouge. All right. And we were actually roommates then, too, in our early 20s. But yeah, so, really, it's ever since college, okay? So in college, my mom told me, why don't you build sustainable communities? Because I always wanted to be a home builder in the back of my mind. That's why I left the commercial side. And so my mom, that's really how it all kind of started for me. Why don't you build sustainable communities?
It always starts from the mom.
It always starts from the mom.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, having we love our mom.
That's right. So yeah.
So your mom was like, look, if you're going to build something, why don't you build it sustainable and help the environment and, participate instead of just sucking the resources out of
That's right.
Mother Earth.
Yeah. So she's an artist, so I think she just maybe kind of recognized some of my interests and growing up. But yeah, nevertheless, so and that's kind of been in the back of my mind the whole time we were working for other builders, was to one day build, and I called it build net zero homes.
Yeah.
And so after Kendall called me and told me he quit his job, a few months later I did the same thing, and we were like, let's go, man. Let's do this.
So tell us. So y'all formed what is now your contracting company.
That's right.
And tell us a little bit about that and what your mission is.
So our mission at Clare Homes is to build healthy, resilient, and energy efficient homes for our community at large, and really to introduce those concepts to our community. And
that's, you hear other builders use that, similar, terms like, I want to build a healthy, efficient home, but you guys are taking it to another level. So that's why I wanted y'all on this podcast, because the ideas and the things that you guys are doing are there's not many other builders in Louisiana, much less Lafayette, that are thinking the way you guys are. So let's really dive into, what do you mean efficient?
Well, so first of all, we really always felt like Lafayette would embrace this ideology. So that's why we always wanted to push this mission home. We feel like we're well connected here, and these ideas will flourish in Lafayette. So that's really why we decided to do it in Lafayette. But in terms of efficiency, so you can build to Energy Star. Most people are familiar with Energy Star. It's a program of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. And most people are familiar with Energy Star windows, Energy Star
appliances, yeah.
Right? But you can actually get an entire Energy Star certified home. So the way you do that is you hire what's called an energy rater. It's a third-party company. There's a few of them in Louisiana that we're familiar with. You hire an energy rater, and so they rate your home on either the HERS or the ERI index. Okay, the HERS is the Home Energy Rating Score or system. But so it measures your building envelope and the efficiency of your appliances, your insulation, all these things, and it's a prescriptive path. So there's an actual checklist that your energy rater goes down and checks at different stages of construction to make sure that you're complying with this prescriptive path. Okay, and then you get an actual Energy Star certificate when the house is complete. Okay.
So what does that mean to the buyer?
Well, it means that your home is more energy efficient. It's going to save you money over the life of your home. So your cost of ownership goes down over the lifespan of your home.
So it makes it more affordable because you're actually everyday costs are going down.
That's right.
And you said testing the envelope. What do you mean by that?
The air leakage of your home, the building envelope, that's tested by what's called a blower door. A blower door is a fan that they put in your house, and they put it on your front door, close all the windows, they cover all the air grills, any kind of penetrations that would be allowing air to leak into your home,
right,
get taped off or shut off. And it puts a negative, they spin the fan backwards, and it measures the leakage on your home. And the leakage on your home is directly related to how much energy your home is consuming.
Right.
Because if you're leaking all this air, well, then your air conditioner is going to run longer. And when you get into the building envelope, whether it's a home or any building, the largest consumer of energy in a building is the air conditioner.
Right. So that's what's sucking. It creates negative pressure. It's like you're at your grandma's house and you open up the back door and then you open up the front door and the other door slams. It's creating that negative pressure. But they're actually measuring that.
You measure it. That's right. And that's how you measure.
Is it like the higher
how lower your blower door score, the more efficient your home is, the less leaky it is. So code right now I think is 7 ACH 50, 7 or 8. So that's how much your house can leak. And it's ACH 50's air changes per hour at 50 pascals, which is the unit of measure they use.
So that's the five. How is that different from like LEED certified house?
It's just a different organization.
But it's very similar because they do similar testing.
That's right.
So you have the 5-star energy efficient or the energy efficient star rating, and then you have LEED certification.
That's right. It's just a different organization.
Okay.
Same goals.
I mean, is it something that you do both for these houses? Like I know.
Look, some builders do. We know builders in other parts of the country that will build to Energy Star and LEED.
Yeah.
But LEED's real big in commercial.
But also LEED, I know, and it comes and goes. We were just talking about this off camera about like the solar panel, the tax credits and everything. Like I know for a while the government was giving, tax credits back to builders who are building certain LEED certified quality, and then that went away for a little bit. I don't know if it's coming back or not, but
there is a tax credit for Energy Star. It's called the 45L tax credit, and you can get up to $2,500 back if you have an Energy Star certified home. And then after Energy Star,
now who gets that back? You or the I guess the owner, if they hire you and you build it, or they get it. But if you're building a spec home, do you get that?
If you're building a spec home, the builder gets it. If you're building a custom home, I'm not sure. I would think that the consumer gets it, but I'm not sure on that. We haven't done a custom Energy Star home yet.
Yeah, y'all have been building specs, and
yeah, we're getting our name out there. We're a startup, so.
And then Fortified, y'all are building Fortified rated property, which is separate from that, or is that all part of the 5-star rating?
Well, so Clare means clean air, resilient, efficient homes. So clean air is indoor air plus through the EPA. We can touch on that later.
Yeah.
Resilient is the Fortified program, and the efficient is the Energy Star or Zero Energy Ready. And we eventually want to build all of our homes to these standards as our standard.
Right.
So the Fortified, thanks for asking, because we led with resiliency. We did Fortified roofs on our first 2 spec houses. The Fortified program is a voluntary program through the IBHS, the Insurance Institute for Building and Home Safety. It's a voluntary nonprofit organization that researches the resiliency of buildings and has put together a prescriptive path, a set of construction standards and details that builders, homeowners, real estate professionals, they can all opt into the Fortified program if they want to build structures, buildings that are more resilient. Fortified has commercial and residential side.
Right.
So there's 3 levels of Fortified on the residential side. Well, on the commercial side as well, but we're residential, so we'll dive into that. So we did Fortified roof. The Fortified roof is a high-performance roof assembly that Fortified has put together a prescriptive path for, a set of construction details, and it makes your roof more disaster resistant, more resilient to hurricanes, by way of
hurricanes, tornadoes, basically, any kind of natural disaster.
That's right. And it's all
high winds.
Yeah, high winds, hurricanes, and it's all research-based building science. So Fortified actually has a campus, I think it's in South Carolina,
I believe.
Yeah. We haven't been there. We want to go there. And you can, go to fortifiedhome.org and you can check out they've got really good websites. So their content is really.
So if you want to find out more about Fortified Homes or just in general,
the
building, just Fortified Homes. Yeah, we'll put that in the link below.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, so why is that important?
Well, it's important, one, because your last guest, I know y'all talked about the Fortified program.
That's right.
I listened right before we came because
that's why it's going to lead right into this, because we were talking about that at our last podcast, which is
right.
Insurance.
Yeah.
So insurance is getting insane in Louisiana.
That's right.
And so how do we limit the impact of the cost of insurance?
That's right. And Fortified program is playing a huge part in the solution to the insurance companies remaining or coming back to Louisiana.
Yeah.
So
It's becoming, it looks like, and according to some of the industry experts, as far as in insurance, it looks like that we're moving towards that being the standard. So you guys are ahead of the curve right now.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we knew all this was coming. We knew, and a lot of the energy stuff is coming too. So we really were just trying to get ahead of it, get crews trained early in it, and try and get ahead of the public information, blitz.
Right.
So
that's the resilience part. So we talked about the clean. So clean, efficient, resilient, and
healthy, resilient, efficient, and then eventually zero energy ready, and then at some point, even zero energy.
What does that mean?
So a net zero home is a home that produces as much energy as it consumes on an annual basis. It's not decarbonization, and that often gets conflated.
It's not that. It's just the fact that you
can have a net zero homes that uses natural gas, that uses a fossil fuel based energy, because it's just an offset. Net zero just means that you have an equal offset of renewable energy to carbon-based energy.
Okay, so also, so you're still using and you're still on the grid, you're still on gas, or you could be.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that is a net zero, but then you mentioned earlier, like the alternative is completely off the grid.
That's right. Well,
what is that called?
Decarbonization, which is a whole other ball game.
Right.
But that's what world governments are pushing for. And you have to get to net zero before you can get to decarbonization.
Sure.
And I think there's a big misnomer, especially in the South, about what net zero is versus what decarbonization is. I think people, when they hear net zero, they think decarbonization. But net zero is an equal offset. It's when a home produces as much energy as it consumes. Because the fact of the matter is, even if you have a home that is all electric, if you're on LUS or if you're on Entergy, we'll use Entergy as the example because I know their numbers. So Entergy's, their energy mix is, I think it's 56, 53. Y'all can check me on this, but I have the article on my phone. Natural gas. So even if you're on an all-electric house and you're on Entergy, Entergy's 56% of their energy is coming from natural gas anyway. So at the end of the day, when you turn on your light switch, there's natural gas powering your Energy Star light fixture or Energy Star appliance. It's still using a fossil fuel based energy source. So,
which is cleaner than coal, but
that's right. It's cleaner than coal. But the only net zero is whenever your house produces enough energy to offset, enough renewable energy to offset the amount of carbon-based energy that it uses.
Well, let's talk about that because, it sounds great. We've been talking about it. So, I mean, since I've been selling real estate and we were talking to how Louisiana and the federal government, it gives tax breaks or exemptions for certain things, but they come and go. And, they're like, to build a net zero house is expensive, and there's other issues too, and the society as a whole has to start to embrace that at some point. The cost of that the value of that has to outweigh the costs, whereas right now it's a choice, right? So somebody like you guys are like one of our clients who wants that. We were talking about, we all went to SCM, like Coach Hightower is into, he drives Teslas, he's got, he's
getting solar.
He's getting solar, and so like he's making a choice because, it's important to him as one of his values, but he's, in order to live that way, it's going to cost initially more to save more money over the long term. So you've got to make that initial investment. So to get, what's the next move to get the buyers to understand that value?
Educating realtors and appraisers, it's great that you're having us on. and real estate professionals, because we want to get that message out. So I really appreciate you having us.
Absolutely, man.
That's what we have to do. We have to educate the appraisal industry, the realtors, the general public. We actually have resources through an organization called EBA that we're members of. It's the Energy and Environmental Building Alliance. EBA.org. They're awesome. It's
Put that on the
please do.
Check it out.
Please do. EBA is a collection of builders, architects, developers, solar panel manufacturers, industry, HVAC companies, building scientists. It's a nonprofit organization that are all pushing for a net zero future, and then at some point, probably not in our lifetime, decarbonized future. But we have to get to net zero first. So,
so I mean, we know that putting a fortified roof on is going to save us money, like right now. And actually, if when it comes to buying a house with the insurance costs and moving into the future, we know that's already happening. Now, when you start to talk about solar and getting to net zero and solar panels, I mean, you're talking about a whole nother level of different, I guess, conditions that have to be right for the buyers to want that, right? So, for instance, solar panels have always been, some people say, man, I like that, it looks cool on the roof, but then you got other buyers that are like, man, I want to buy this house, but I want those solar panels taken off,
Right.
which is just a mindset. So, things are changing and evolving in technology, and one of those is the way they're adjusting it so that it looks more like a roof instead of the solar panel, or solar panel itself is the roof, right?
that's right.
Well, let's talk about that.
Well, Isaac was able to bring a Tesla solar shingle here.
Yeah, so this is Tesla. This is their solar panel, and it's basically a shingle.
It is a shame.
It's a shingle, and there is no roof. This is the shingle for the roof. So you don't have like a regular shingle. You get, and then panels. This is the roof.
Yes, that's right.
This is super cool. And you guys were showing me some stuff online. Like they had a hurricane come through in Texas, and
Yeah, there's an apocalypse in Texas. I was telling Tommy about it too. There's a really cool company called Good Faith Energy that I follow on YouTube and everything, and they're a Tesla certified.
and it's basically like a piece of glass.
Yeah, it's glass.
Like tempered glass.
Tempered glass,
and glass.
but it's like indestructible.
That's right. Well, like we see this black, feel that black stuff on the back, Jim? It's it keeps it together. So when it breaks, because when I was on site when I first saw this, they had a bunch of broken ones also. And that when it shatters that membrane on the back side of it and keeps it all together, so you don't have glass, and then you can come and you just snap them in and out of place, so they're modular.
You just pop them in and out. So many one breaks, but I mean, you'd have to use a baseball bat to break one of those, huh?
Well, that's what I was going to say. There's a really cool video on YouTube that Good Faith Energy has. It's a video that a homeowner who has a Tesla solar roof installed during the snowpocalypse in Texas a few years ago, has video of baseball and golf ball size hail hitting the roof, and he had no broken tiles. The dude was able to remain in his home. He had Tesla solar roof, he had battery backup, and he had a Tesla vehicle.
Yeah.
So he was able to stay in his house, he was able to power his house, and he was able to drive his car while the rest of Texas was right. So, and that's
that's the missing link, right? Because
that's resilience.
Because I had bought I had got a Lightning, a Ford F-150 Lightning, and it was great. I was like, man, this is cool, because I didn't pay any gas. I plugged it in every night and it was full. But if you have a hurricane, I'm got no car. If I run out of battery, and I'm off the grid, I got no way to.
But if you have solar.
But if you had solar, that's the missing link, right? So
you got a fortified roof.
Yeah.
You have solar, a battery backup, and an electric vehicle. Then that's resiliency. That's what we're trying to get.
Yeah, and that's like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Of like being, being able to, just support yourself.
Yeah, and then while if there's no hurricane and there's a lot of sun and everything's hunky-dory and everything's good, you can produce more energy than you consume. You can be net positive, and depending on your local net.
Okay, so for I know what you're talking about. For our audience, explain that.
What, net positive?
Net positive.
It's whenever you produce more energy than you consume. Net zero is whenever you whenever you consume, or whenever you produce as much as you consume.
So that energy.
Well, you sell it back to the grid.
Right.
So that's where we really want to get.
But I mean, you can do that now, like with when you install a solar panel, you know, during the day when you're not using it, it's sending power back to the grid, and your bill is just going backwards.
That's right. So your cost of ownership's going down.
Right.
Your cost per square foot, and this is what we need your help with, Jim. We need to, I mean, and this is hard to do, but it's time, because in the real estate industry, everything is cost per square foot, cost per square foot, cost per square foot, cost per square foot. I mean, that's what it's been forever. But cost of ownership is what we have to figure out how to sell to people. The cost of ownership is going to go down. Your cost per square foot might be a little higher. And look, the builders in EBA that build to Energy Star, Zero Energy Ready, and LEED and all these high performance, and even net zero completely, they are only spending 1 to 5% extra to get there. It's not an enormous amount. And we set out to prove that. You know, doing the Fortified roof was not that much more expensive. And
because a lot of people don't know what that is. We talked about Fortified roofing and what is it? Like, explain to the audience what, you know, the actual material that you're using is different from just a regular roof.
Okay, so in construction terms, it's thicker roof decking. Code is 7/16.
Yeah.
Fortified is 15/32. It's just barely 1/32 thicker. It's not much. But Fortified does the science. They do the research. So it's thicker roof decking. It's an enhanced nail pattern. Well, let me back up. So thicker roof decking. It's a longer nail because you have thicker roof decking. It's a ring shank nail. Okay. You know, it has those little rivets on it.
Right.
That's to improve the uplift capacity.
Right.
Just code allows smooth shank nails. Like 99% sure. But, so yeah, smooth shank nail, I mean, it just can back right out. You know,
sure.
Nails just backing out.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen, like, you know,
old decks, old fences.
Yeah, we've all seen that. We've all seen also, like on the news, like a tornado, like you'll see like a roof just fly away.
Yeah, so the whole deck.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's thicker decking. It's a longer ring shank nail, and it's an enhanced nail pattern. So it's every 4 inches into the rafter, and you have to document all of this, and you have to hire a evaluator to come and make sure that you are complying to the Fortified roof construction.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. You can do it all with a phone now. We did it all with phone and an app called Company Cam. You just upload, and you only need 4 photos of each phase. So it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
So an enhanced nail pattern every 4 inches, and you have to document it because.
Well, so yeah, just to go back, like that Fortified certification, like I didn't start hearing about that until about 2021, as at the early, like I've never heard that until a couple of years ago. So, you know, I guess because of the insurance conversation that we're having, that's why this has become, has it been around forever? And it's just
for maybe 20-something years.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it's been around. We just haven't heard it until insurance has gone way up. And so now we're looking for new ways to improve our insurance or monthly quote.
Yeah. Alabama bought it years ago. Even the production builders in Alabama are building the Fortified Gold.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 levels of Fortified. Fortified Roof, which is the basic, Fortified Silver, and then Fortified Gold.
What's the difference between them?
Fortified Silver is like impact-rated windows, functional shutters, things to hurricane-resistant garage doors. You know, because your garage door is one of the
weakest part.
Right, because of that negative pressure, it just gets sucked out.
Yeah.
So you always see them just getting mangled and after hurricanes. But yeah, and then Gold is a structural load path. So go to fortifiedhome.org. They've got great content. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook and all those things, and they've got great content showing why it's effective. So for the Fortified roof, after the enhanced nail pattern, Okay, every 4 inches. I mean, most roofers are just going up there, just kind of arbitrarily putting nails. There's no specific pattern to how they're doing
So
it.
how do you like make sure that like, because I know you guys are subbing out the roof. You have certain contractors that you know are going to do it the way you want it.
Yeah, I mean, we were up there training them.
Well, that's why you got to be on site, document it. You got to take pictures, and then, the guy, he'll come out and he's going to check every rafter. If he sees any sections where, they miss the rafter and they put section, he's going to call you. He's going to tell you to come back and do it again.
Yeah.
So, you got to be tight with it. You got to make sure your supervisor's on board with it, which, ours have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes a big difference, especially when you get them trained. First time, it's actually very simple for 'em moving forward.
Yeah, and they get it. You start telling them this is why. They know it's stronger, and they know it's a better way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's about like going back to what we're talking about is, it's about the value. Price is not an issue if the end user sees the value in it. And so whether that value is, a better product or it's going to save them money in the long run, it's strange that, we've kind of, it's almost like we're going back to where we were, like when my grandfather used to have houses, they used to build them and they'd say, this is a strong house. And then at some point, we just got to a point where people didn't care about that as much. They just wanted to get into the house. Like even today, you go to a 85-year-old guy's house, and he's like, behind this is solid wood behind each door. Well, the millennial, he's like, I don't really care what's behind that wall. It's just sheetrock. Is all I see. So it's going back to where people have to see that value in there. In the underneath everything to buy it, and I know that we've had lots of conversations about how do we increase the demand for those type of houses, and it's funny how like our capitalism is actually driving us there because it's a free market. The insurance companies are moving out; they're increasing their prices, which is creating more and more value to a stronger built home. Definitely a fortified home. I mean, it's almost, according to some of the guys that I've been talking to, that they're planning on it being, across the board.
Well, there's legislation that is currently being voted on to either adopt it as a standard, like adopt it into the state code, or not.
Yeah, and they're doing that really. I mean, they're getting pressure from the constituents to get the insurance companies to reduce their prices, and that's one of the only ways to do it because the insurance quotes and the insurance costs are going up. Whether you build a fortified house or not, the guys that don't, and when they're replacing those roofs after a hurricane, that's driving up the cost for everybody. So that's kind of the concept. They're trying to just make it across the board so that our overall insurance costs or impact are less.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely for the insurance reasons. But I mean, we want to have a more resilient community, do we not? Don't you want to be able to stay in your home after a storm comes?
No doubt.
So yeah, that's even beyond the insurance. That's really part of our mission is to build more resilient homes because we want a more resilient community. We want South Louisiana. We want to break the disaster cycle that is causing the insurance companies to leave, because people. And here's the value, Jim. You have a fortified roof, and look, here's the biggest thing. It's the sealed roof deck. This is where most of the building science.
This is just like tape.
It's tape. But it's a roof deck tape.
Mm-hmm.
So at all the seams,
tape seams.
So all the seams are taped so that the air, so it creates that envelope where air can't get under, water can't get in there.
Whenever a roof comes, and this is the research that you'll find through Fortified, they've got a bunch of cool videos that show that's where the water's getting in. Because when the roof decking is 2 sheets of plywood, and those are required to have a spacer. There's a whole hurricane clip. They're required to have an 1/8 inch in between it for expansion and control.
I've seen that, yeah.
So when a hurricane comes, it takes off your shingles, it takes off your underlayment,
And then water.
water cascades in through those little gaps. It's 1/8 of an inch, but it's 1/8 of an inch times 4 feet times 8 feet times 95 pieces. So that adds up to a tremendous volume of water that's getting into your home.
Right.
That's damaging all your content.
And that's one of the ratings why the insurance is going up.
That's right. And so you're talking,
Because the water.
yeah, depending on the size of your home, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $100,000 worth of damage. That's the value. If you have a fortified roof and a hurricane comes through, you don't have to leave your house. You don't have $30,000 in insurance claims. So there's the value. And there are studies, and I can send you off these.
And it's really this is what's stopping
That's the biggest thing. I mean,
it's stronger.
it's all of it.
It's stronger, but then to keep the water out, it's this.
Deck is really key. And Fortified really pioneered that. And so you can either tape the seams. This is the most cost-effective way. It's roof deck tape. It's not duct tape like my buddy Longways. It's an actual roof deck tape. And so once you apply that to the seams, it actually melts onto there. It's not coming off.
Oh, okay, yeah. So because it's not like super sticky, it's just like it's kind of like a
But when that stuff gets hot in the sun,
it just melts on there.
melts down. Yeah. So, but it's the whole system. It's comprehensive because the ring shank nails you nailed it out 4
The
inches.
shingles are the same.
Shingles is really just has to meet the Fortified standard, which most shingles do. It's like 120, maybe 110 mile an hour wind rating, but it has to be installed right. So a lot of it is just following manufacturer specifications, which
That's happened. Yeah, that's where you need the supervision from the contractors at the site.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of this, after the roof deck tape, a lot of it is just following manufacturer specifications, like on the underlayment.
Yeah,
It has like a nail here target,
Small target.
underlayments, where you're supposed to put the nails. Nobody's doing that.
why not?
They're just speed.
Speed.
Yeah,
You don't get paid if it takes you an extra 2 days. This is, you can do 2 houses in 2 days, or it might take you a little bit longer.
yeah,
So the crews are just trained to blow and go.
yeah.
So it requires a little bit.
Well, and they've got to relearn. I mean, like, it's like they've been tying their shoe one way, for 20 years, and now you're asking them to do it a whole nother way. So they got to stop.
That's
Everybody's got to read.
That's actually where we're good.
Yeah.
We had to learn a lot of stuff differently, and we continue to do so. But it's going to keep changing.
Because y'all both worked like for some of the biggest builders in America. I mean,
That's right.
And y'all were putting down houses, weekly.
That's right. Yeah, we can build. That's our strength is project man.
Yeah,
We were supers. I can train the crews.
yeah.
I can train the crews. I'm fluent in Spanish. I have no problem training the crews. That's the easy part for me. Training the realtors, the banks, the
buyer.
appraisers, the buyers. That's the hard part. That's where we feel like we're really carving a niche.
Yeah.
So, we have resources, like I was saying earlier, through EBA that can train realtors on the added value, that can train appraisers, that can get the added value out of the house. There's something called an air policy in the appraiser checklist that we look at, that if you build a house that exceeds minimum code standards, then you can get that value on the selling.
Yeah.
On the asking.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you're going to have to get the appraisers. Otherwise, you can't ask, it costs more. Right. So you have to ask more. But if you have 2 exact houses and that appraiser's looking at both those houses and it's giving them the same value because they have the same square footage, same everything. Yeah. I mean, it's that's going to be the biggest challenge is, because if the buyer sees the value in it and wants that house, that may cost a little bit more than the house next door, but it's going to be fortified, more efficient. Their bills are going to be less, and they see that value. Now it's like, okay, we want to buy it, but if the appraiser doesn't appraise it, then you've got another challenge.
That's right. And we have resources that can train appraisers, that can train realtors, all through EBA.
Yeah. It's about getting the appraisers some appraisers, just like realtors, have egos and they don't want you to train them, realtors are just as bad. So it's like you got to find an appraiser and a realtor that's open-minded to the idea, and more so the appraiser.
Yeah. I mean, the resources out there. It's not like you need a trainer. If you just start typing in the right questions to Google, it'll lead you to all the right places for all this stuff.
So what's next? So what's next for you guys, Kendall? Like, so you guys are building houses right now, which we're going to put on the link of, your listings that you have currently that are already on the ground. And then we also have a short video about your company that is really cool. But what's next for you guys? Like, what's the next step?
Well, we have one house currently that we're just hoping to sell. Our first house sold, and those two were through an investor. And I think once this one sells, we're going to look into some property somewhere else in Lafayette, and we'll build to the standards that Isaac spoke about. We did the Fortified on these two houses, but on the next ones, we'd like to, have a bare minimum of Fortified, Energy Star, and then depending on, if we get custom jobs, we'll, go as far as they're willing to go with everything else. So, that's the next step for us, and, we're waiting it out right now. So,
and y'all build new houses, but you're also doing a lot of remodel.
Correct.
You help me on my remodel, and then you also have some of our clients that are using you guys to do remodels.
Correct. And, our long-term goal is new construction, but I think naturally we'll always have some part of the business that's doing remodels, especially right now. Interest rates are high. A lot of people would rather just stay where they are and fix the house they're in, make some upgrades, than go take out, a massive loan on another house. And property isn't as...
A lot of our clients have bought their house 3-4 years ago and refinanced in 2021 at a 2.9% interest, and to make a move from that house to a bigger house is just a much bigger concept. Now, people are still doing it, and it's just going from 2.9 to 6% is been it's more mental than anything, and it costs more. I mean, it's just
exactly.
It's not as easy. Now, the first time home buyers, they're coming into the market, they didn't know that anyway, so it's not that big of a jump,
Right. And we can still incorporate a lot of these procedures or so into remodels. You got really old houses, insulation that's falling down the walls, just old fiberglass, roofs that need to be redone.
Are y'all doing a lot of blown-in insulation? I mean, the foam insulation, is that part of y'all's certification? Or
At some point, we did it on these two houses. It was $16,000 to spray foam the roof of the houses.
And then versus what? What would that cost just to insulate? Like, it's $16,000. So you're talking, 4 times as much to do the foam. Is that going up, or is it
the foam?
Yeah.
We've only spray foamed one, and it was George Boudreaux's cabin. So, I mean, it wasn't a lot at all, and he's paying for that directly. So we didn't see that cost, but it's a significant amount. I'm sure the foam went up with COVID and everything else. Pretty sure. Even just the fiberglass insulation went up, so. But yeah, it's significant, but there's other ways because to get to zero energy ready, you have to put your AC within a semi-conditioned space, which one way to do that.
That's the other side of it, is the AC, making sure it's as efficient as the building
envelope. Yeah.
We met with
which makes a big difference. I mean, we've had some serious issues that have come up from people who, you build your house more efficient and you have the wrong tonnage because you have too much tonnage, and then your AC's not running enough because it's cooling off. Then you have moisture problems. So it all works together, and you gotta have somebody that's managing it to make sure they understand how it all comes together.
A builder that understands the building side.
Yeah.
And that's what all these high performance home building certifications are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people always say, you know, oh, it's not rocket science, and it's not. But rocket science actually is building science. You're just building a rocket. So there's a lot of building science fundamentals that go into how to build your home that just often gets overlooked by the entire construction industry. And these high performance,
That might be the title of this podcast. Building a home is like rocket science. It's not that hard.
but yeah, I mean, it's people don't even like. I didn't even know the term building science existed until we decided to go down the zero energy rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And learn all these.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So, what, like, if things go, you know, the way you guys are, you're planning in the next 5 years, how many homes would you guys like to build in, like, net zero? I mean, is that something we're going to see in this?
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Whether Clare Homes does it or not, it's coming. The rest of the country's already doing it, especially out west. I mean,
and I've talked to a lot of builders, you know, because that's what we do, but there's not many builders like you that are, you know, talking about it and wanting to do it and actually marketing it like, hey, we want to build this. So I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's coming through the codes anyway. We just adopted the 2021 International Residential Code. We jumped from
2009.
It's either 9 or 15, but I mean, that's a huge jump. And a lot of the new code is being pulled from Energy Star, from Zero Energy Reading, from Indoor Air Plus. That's where they're getting all of these new codes from. They're getting them from high performance home building programs, adopting them into, because here's the thing, and here's what people don't know. Buildings consume like 40% of our energy. So we have the buildings, whether it's a home, whether it's a commercial building, whether it's a trailer, whether it's a football stadium, that's all drawing energy from the grid, which at the end of the day is fossil fuels. So we cannot get to net zero. Net zero is mathematically impossible to achieve without having net zero buildings.
Right.
So we have to have net zero buildings to get to net zero. And there is this international push to get to net zero.
No doubt. I mean,
and so we have to do it philosophically, and this is what we believe, is that everything philosophically starts at home. So if we can begin to change people's behavior at home, then it will domino effect out into the world. And we want to be net zero. We want to marry high performance and production home building. We want to be out there building sustainable communities that produce more energy than they consume, that are net zero, that are net positive, because that's real resiliency.
Yeah, and it's freaking cool. It's going to save you a lot of money over the life of your loan. That's right. So before I ask you the last question, if somebody wants to find you guys and talk to you about building a high efficient home, or hiring you for a remodel, where do they go?
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. It's Clare, CLARE, no I, Clare Homes. Our website is clare-homes.com.
And we'll put that in this link, and then also you can always call Keaty Real Estate. We'll connect you guys. So what's got you most excited in the technology that's coming out that's going to make the biggest impact, and it's in the horizon?
Kendall?
That's a good question. I think the biggest change is the younger generation. They are studying it more than we ever did.
Yeah.
They're growing up with cell phones, with, Teslas, all these things. And, like Isaac points out all the time, they're already starting to buy homes. So that's going to be who we're selling to. So you might as well.
Our workforce.
Yeah, exactly. So
is our workforce, and they're starting to buy homes now, and they care a lot about this. And I already had a LSU student reach out to me to write a story on our business model.
Right.
Because he went visit La House, which check out La House. It's through LSU. The house has been a major resource for us.
Y'all went over. You were telling me about.
I go there all the time.
Yeah, you guys.
It's LSU's campus. It's right across from a baseball field, Alex Fox Stadium.
Yeah, the house is a high performance showcase, right, for the general public, for builders, for realtors, and it's all these different assemblies under one roof on how to build a high performance home in South Louisiana. And the house has been, we're both LSU graduates. We didn't even know about the house when we were in construction management, because construction management is so heavily geared towards industrial and commercial construction.
Right.
But the house was there while we were there, and the house is, it's a literal checklist on how to build a high performance home in South Louisiana. They have a fortified roof on the house. They have solar. They have all these different high performance wall assemblies and all these things. So, yeah,
different methods. That's the other part of it, is there's no perfect path you can take. Every house is different. The builders that we are in the group with build in Canada, Oregon, Austin, Texas, Florida. So you got different climate zones. Every house needs to be built differently based off of your climate.
Sure.
And we're in climate zone 2, which is super hot and humid. So you need to take that into consideration. But you got people in the north where that's the least of their concerns. But we're talking about dehumidifiers, different exterior building methods, stucco versus brick versus, hardy, different methods on how to do that. And that's what the house shows you. If you're building stucco, it's got, it's got a little cutout on the exterior, and it tells you how to build it properly with a rain screen. Just different methods like that. So that's the beauty of it, is there's no perfect path to it. It all depends, and the customer can incorporate it into their home, custom with the architect.
So what's the coolest thing that you've seen lately? Like, what was the technology wise? Like you're talking about all these different
the Tesla roof. And that's the coolest thing for sure.
Yeah.
I know the company that installs it in Louisiana. So we really want to find a customer that wants that roof. Right. It's like, from a passion standpoint. It's cool.
Yeah.
Tesla is the high performance. People don't buy, then that's what we want to do. People don't buy Teslas, especially in Louisiana, because it doesn't have tailpipe emissions.
Right. They're buying it because it's
cool.
It's cool.
It's high performance.
Yeah.
It's a high performance.
Oh man, that Ford Lightning was the fastest car I've ever been in.
Yeah, I test rode in one the other day.
Now I traded it in because I had to go to, because it's like a golf cart. Like if you pull a trailer, your juice goes down significantly. And I have a place in Covington near our office, and I was driving there, and I went to New Orleans, which is only 100 miles away, and I had a 300-mile range.
Yeah,
and I almost ran out of juice there. And then in New Orleans, the infrastructure is just all junked up. Like every one I went to was broken or whatever. So I had to drive to Hammond to get see. So I love it. I love the car. It was the coolest car I've ever driven. But for a lifestyle of construction and pulling trailers and boats and stuff, it's just not there yet.
It's not there yet, but it's coming.
It's coming.
It's happening every day.
But around town, if you're building, I put an order in for the Tesla truck because around town, if it's perfect, it's perfect. You don't pay gas, and you can go anywhere around town. You can even pull a boat and stuff around town, but you're not gonna be able to go to Destin.
No.
And you may or may not make it depending on how much junk you put in there. I loaded down. So
yeah.
But really cool, man. I love you guys, what y'all are doing for Acadiana, for Louisiana, and just for, society in general. Can't wait to see the Tesla roof. I know we're talking about, trying to put some proposed construction with the Tesla. So if any of you guys out there are interested in learning more about Clare Homes on, if it's a right fit for you, or if you just want to know and talk to them about how to go about building a Fortified, 5 stars rated, LEED certified, or if you're interested in the Tesla roof, these are the guys you need to talk to. And thank you all so much for being here. Kendall, I appreciate you. And thanks for everything, brother. And I wish y'all the best of luck, and I can't wait to see that first Tesla roof in Lafayette.
Yeah, maybe we can meet again in a year or so and see where things are then. So.